Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woohoo! Fun weekend.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was kind of fun.
Of course it was. You and Molly got to hang out
That's
together.
it. Me and Molly, me and the pup.
Yeah.
And then our Saturday sessions with
the girls.
With the girls. That was fun and interesting.
Of course it was. Next week's the last week.
Yes.
They will do fantastic.
They'll do fine. They'll be good.
Yes. I got to spend my weekend with almost 200 women over there on the other side of the state in Langhorne. We were at the Business and Professional Women's Clubs of Pennsylvania's annual convention. And I got to run the personal and professional development speaking competition.
And yeah. I would have been there, but I had to stay here and run our girls groups on Saturday. So
yeah. And you needed to spend time with the puppy.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
I know you did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it went well. It went very well. Before I forget, I know all of you out there are listening, so make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes, we would greatly appreciate that.
We would. All right, so last week we told you about this cute little book, 4 by Jeff Henderson.
Yep.
Little. I'm not kidding. It's
not
tiny.
That long.
It's not big in size. It's not tons and tons of pages. Packed with information, though. Packed with a ton of useful information.
Yes,
for you.
Ideas and
yes. So
strategies,
if
things you can put into place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get it? Like I said, Jeff Henderson writes it. Excellent book. We told you a little bit about what it's about last week, and this week we want to start diving into it, and we want to talk about the first group that Jeff tells us we need to be for as an organization, as a company, as a nonprofit. Doesn't matter. All the principles that he writes about in here can be used by any type of organization.
They all apply.
Okay, so if you are a government agency, you could still use this.
Right.
If you are a nonprofit, you can use this. If you're for profit, you can use this. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you are a entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, you can use this information. And the first group that he talks about is being for the customer.
For the customer?
For the customer.
What? I thought our job was just to sell them something and walk away.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are just like, well, you mean I got to be for the customer? Yeah. I am for the customer. I'm for them buying my products and services.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, is for them to buy my product,
my service. I collect the money, and then we're done. That's as far as it goes. No. Try again.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing.
Think about the companies out there that you love to do business with, and it could be any of them. Think about the nonprofits that you like to support with your time, talent, and treasure. Think about the different service providers, like a doctor or a dentist that you use, and why you continue to go back year after year to do those people. Think about some of the retailers that you use and why you will choose others over some.
Oh yeah, that's something's been in the news. So there's something very clear that you can see. Is that company for their customers? Mm-hmm. Their actual customers, or are they for somebody else? And we have seen what has happened there.
Yes, we have.
Because sometimes these companies forget, hold on a second, these are my core customers. I mean, it's fine to have products and services geared towards other groups of clients, but you've always got to remember, it's your biggest group. That's who's keeping you going. That's who, and you've got to make sure that you are for that group. That doesn't mean you can't be for the other groups. No. Far from it. You can be for all of them. But you've really got to be, careful in your consideration. And we've seen companies that have decided that they really aren't for their own customers, their true customer base. And I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this because I don't want to make anybody mad, but it's one thing to want to grow your customer base by going after smaller segments of the market, but you've always got to keep in mind that your true bulk of your customers, that's who you have to be for.
Yes. And keeping in mind that for means in favor of.
In favor of, yes.
Okay. All right. So in here in the book 4, Jeff starts off this particular section of the book when he talks about being for the customer, where asking, if a business was a person, would you want to be friends with them? Would you want to hang out with them? Would you actually like them? Okay, so I want you to think about that in terms of how you treat the people who are your customers, because you want them to like being around you. You want them to like doing business with you. You want them to find value in being there in your store or in your organization and ordering your products and services. I think it's interesting because literally as a bookmark, I grab just about anything and everything as bookmarks.
You have some of the strangest bookmarks.
I am not very particular. I'm using this as a bookmark. All right. This is a postcard that I get from our dentist. Our dentist is Dr. Carl Hutcherson. He's over in the Mountain View area there of Greensburg.
Greensburg area. Yep.
We have used him since we moved here almost 20 years ago.
Yep.
And love him. Love him. Love him. I love Doc.
And he came to us by way of a recommendation from one of my fellow faculty members.
Yes.
And we went with that recommendation, and we've been with him ever since.
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Doc's getting ready to retire.
He is.
He's going to be turning his practice over to somebody else in the future. However, one of the reasons why we continue to go back to him is because he is for his customers.
Yeah.
He wants what's best for us. He wants to provide the best services possible to us. And he takes the time at the end of every interaction you have with him. He will thank you.
Yeah.
He will thank you for being a customer. He will thank you for sharing, with the world who he is and what he does. He will thank you for being there. And that makes a difference. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a dentist do that.
Plus, he also usually has pretty cool music playing in the background while you're there. So that makes a big difference.
He has Sirius XM.
Yeah, he doesn't play elevator music.
He doesn't. No. So that's He'll ask about your family. He asks about the kids. Yep. He'll ask about Jeffrey and Katie, and how are they doing? And he takes a personal interest in his customers, and that's part of being for your customers.
It
is you take an interest in them and you find out, what can I do to help them? How can I be of more service to them? Simply going above and beyond just what it is that I'm doing here and truly helping my customers. Mm-hmm. That's part of what Jeff writes about in this particular section. But the other thing that he writes about in this particular section is he talks about being social on social media. And we talked a little bit about this last week, as opposed to, using social media to say what a great company you are, how fabulous your products are, how buy, us.
Right.
Okay. Jeff talks about being social in the instance of your customers are going out there and you're interacting with them on social media because that's what it's there for. And B, you're actually promoting your customers on your social media feed.
Yeah.
So you're posting pictures of happy customers and saying, meet our customer. This is who they are, and they've been using us for X number of years, and we're so happy to have them as a valued customer, and here's why they keep coming back, and talking about them,
Mhm.
and talking about how they have grown and how they have found value in what it is that you do.
And then just interacting with them. So
Yes.
I know Jeff tells the story of his daughter's encounter with one of her favorite groups. I had one similar, somewhat similar.
Yeah.
And that I'm a big music fan. We already established that. I really like a lot of the music from the 70s, the 80s, into the 90s. Somewhere about the mid 90s,
You stopped.
I jumped off the music train a bit.
Yep.
Every once in a while, I'll hear something that'll catch my ear and I go, oh, that's pretty good. But not often.
No.
Most of it, I hear it and go, oof, why did they even bother to record that? What was the point? And one of my favorite bands, band from the 80s called the Smithereens. Many of you may know who they are. Many of you may not. But they were, I guess we could say they were an early alternative kind of band. They're based out of New Jersey. I think of it just being straight ahead rock and roll, but they're in that same vein as like the Gin Blossoms and Marshall Crenshaw, Marshall Crenshaw, the singer for the Gin Blossoms, both sing for the Smithereens because Smithereens singer Pat Denizio passed away some time back. Got to see them one time. And Pat was still with the band. And it was interesting because the guitar player, Jim Babchick, one day, he's on Facebook, and he posted a note because I was in the Smithereens fan page, and he had a question on there. What was your very first concert? And so I responded because mine was this all-day open air festival, and Foreigner was the headliner. And that's why I'm so hot to go see him. That's what I started with. It just dawned on me last night. But anyway, I stayed my first concert, and a few days later, I was shocked when Jim actually replied and said, "Sounds like a great show." And I don't know, for some crazy reason, that just seemed amazing to me that here's this guy from this rock band that been on TV and big concerts all over the world, and he's responding to me. And so
he's taking the time
to respond to my post.
One of the other things that Jeff writes about in his book Jeff Henderson writes in there that when he was still running one of the churches, that every week when his board would get together, they would literally sit down at the very beginning of the board meeting and spend about 10-15 minutes going onto the social media page in Facebook, and I think on Twitter, maybe Instagram, but going on the social media page for the church and responding and replying to people who had made comments on their social media pages. And that's one of the things that you have to do. You have to be vigilant in the fact that you will have fans, you will have customers who are going in there and making comments and saying various things, and you need to respond to them. It needs to be a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
It needs to be interactive. And that's part of what social media does, because as soon as you do reply, that's when people remember.
Yeah, right.
That's what people remember.
They do.
A local band here in the Pittsburgh area, Gene the Werewolf.
Gene the Werewolf.
I love Gene.
They love you.
And they love me. And one of the reasons why they love me, and I know this, is because we interact on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to go out there and share all the stuff that they're doing. And they know that and they appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you need to do. When it comes to your customers, you need to be for those customers. You need to be actively for customers and showing them how much you appreciate and telling them, hey, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. And when you start doing that, don't be amazed when you start getting more responses, because she laughs all the time about how, for a long time, I've always been amazed when she would tell me how many people were following this or how many. I'm going, wow, really? I've stopped being amazed.
Well, it was funny because the first time that we were together and somebody came up and said, oh, I saw you on Facebook. And he's just like, wait, people actually do
People
watch this
that?
thing. And so, which was good that he finally realized that people
Oh my
do
gosh, people
watch
watch it.
this, because it got him to finally, take it seriously.
Yeah, well, that's because I finally realized people were actually tuning in.
People tune in.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because people view this the same way that they view people on television sometimes, is if they've never seen you in person before. When they finally do see you in person, it's like seeing somebody they see on TV all the time for the first time. Yeah, I was amazed in the beginning. I've stopped being amazed.
So having said that, feel free to put comments in here, because he might. He's not the most social person on Facebook. I
Facebook.
usually do most of the comments and stuff, and I set everything up. But every once in a while, he'll jump in there.
Yeah.
So feel free to go in there, post comments. We always love that. We love it when people actually interact with all this stuff. Every morning we have quotes that go out at about 8:30 in the morning Eastern time. A great way to start your day, and inspirational, motivational. Some of them are funny, some of them are not so funny. But go in there, read some of those quotes, and let us know what you think about them.
Yeah.
And if you have suggestions of like a favorite author, a favorite speaker that you'd like to see quotes from, let us know.
Because do see the comments in there where people say they like the post.
And then like in the evening, I'll tell you what the day is. Like yesterday was National Corn on the Cob Day.
Was it?
It was.
We didn't have corn on the cob.
We did not have corn on the cob.
Bummer.
Yesterday was National Corn on the Cob Day. And so one of the things I asked, what's your favorite way to make corn on the cob? What's your favorite way to make corn on the cob?
With butter and salt. I don't know.
I like it grilled.
I like it on the you like it on the grill.
I like it grilled. And there's
I'm okay with it boiled. I'm okay with it baked. I don't care.
For me, when it gets
matter.
boiled or steamed like that, sometimes it gets kind of mushy. I like
if you boil it too long. Yeah, you got to be careful with it.
I like it grilled a lot better. Street corn's good.
Yeah.
Oh, street corn's good.
I just, as long as it's cooked. Some way. I just about don't care.
Yeah. I love corn on the cob. And speaking of Dr. Hutcherson likes it when we eat corn on the cob because it forces us to floss more often.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah. So corn on the cob, ribs, because I always get the meat stuff.
Celery.
Yeah. Anything like that. Yeah. You like that because it forces you to floss.
Yeah. So
yeah. Summertime, floss a lot.
Yes.
Because a lot of stuff gets stuck in your teeth.
Exactly. All right. So next week we're going to talk about the next section of the book, where Jeff is going to talk about, are you in for the team? So that would be the team of people.
Yeah. Your team around you. Because that's one where people, they forget about their team, and so we'll talk about why that is detrimental to your organization, to your business, to achieving your objectives, because you need to be for your team.
Yep. Just like you got to be for your customer.
That's it.
You got to be for your team. And we'll talk about the other two after that.
All right. Sounds like a winner to me.
Ready? Yeah. All right. So if somebody wanted to get in contact with us, and somebody actually contacted us today.
This morning.
This morning, they found us through LinkedIn.
How about that?
That's how I found
it. Wow.
Yeah. If you're interested in reaching out and contacting us, because in addition to these fun motivational Mondays, we actually do training.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Been doing a lot lately.
Yeah, we do training on leadership skills, communication skills, and teamwork. So getting everybody on the same page and moving in the same direction.
Yep.
That's what we focus on. So if you need help in those areas, if you need training, if you need speakers to come out and speak to your group, if you need some type of coaching in there for either you or for your team, how could they reach us?
Through our website, ateagueofyourown.com.
ateagueofyourown.com. Yes.
They could send us an email, info at ateagueofyourown.com.
Yes.
There's a theme running there.
There is
ateagueofyourown.com.
info at ateagueofyourown.com.
Right there.
Yes.
Teague of your own. Make sure you put a Teague of your own.
Yeah.
Not a Teague of their own.
No.
That's because this is a play on the league of their own, but we are a Teague of your own because we are for you.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
how I did that?
I
That's
did.
pretty good.
Let's
huh?
see how you did
Yeah,
that. All right. If they want to call us, because they could call us.
They could call
Because the
us.
phone rang this morning.
Yes,
if
they did.
If they wanted to call us, what's that number?
412-420-7975. Again,
Correct.
412-420-7975. And don't let the 412 fool you. We just picked that number. So
You picked that.
I
number.
picked that number so people would think we're in Pittsburgh, but we're actually outside of Pittsburgh. We're in the Pittsburghish area.
Operators are standing by.
Yes.
You could text us. If you prefer not to talk to people, you can still text us. You could also reach us on social media
Social media.
platforms. So
Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Instagram. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, like I said before, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get our videos.
Yeah, all these videos are on there. So.
The Power Talks are on there too that we've been doing.
Oh, okay.
Power Talks that we've been doing for the Comeback Champion Summit,
Yay.
which is
Yeah, when does that start?
it
that's
starts at
soon.
it's next week.
Okay, thanks for narrowing that down.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I know.
it's 5
the
days.
entire week,
Yeah,
so it starts on Monday.
it's
Okay,
next week.
okay, so I would say it starts on Monday.
Yeah, so it's a week from today.
Yeah, and we got
begins.
a good presentation in
You
there.
do.
So yeah.
Also, we've got a webinar tonight
Yes, we do. Oh yeah, that's right.
on creating a high performance culture.
That's right.
And so you'll see posts on Facebook and on LinkedIn for the link to register. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Register. If you can't make it, register anyway, and we'll send you the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This has been fun.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.